So still have this Taramps Smart 8 hooked up here. I'm going to test it. It is 1 ohm. Now we're going to test the clamp and voltmeter versus the Basehead Garage Watt Meter version 2 versus the SPL LABS NEXT LCD with the clamp. And just some quick testing. The Taramps Lab, this clamp has to be set to 10 millivolts. With the SPL Labs, it has to be set to the 1 millivolt setting on the clamp. So we have the power wire going through all 3 clamps here. I've said it in the past, I don't do bullshit. I don't falsify tests. I just show the testing for what it is. So I'm going to do a series. Let me zoom out a little bit. I'm going to do a series of 5 tests. And as you can see, I've got the test number here, Basehead Garage Watt Meter here, the SPL Lab here, and then the clamp and the digital multimeter here. Now, the Basehead Garage Watt Meter and the SPL Labs are going to automatically calculate the wattage for each run. The clamp and the DMM is not. But we are on a resistive load, so the volt amps and the wattage should read very, very similar. So we're just going to write down all the information, and then I'll let you see the notebook when I'm done. So we're going to do it about it's about 4,200 watts, give or take. Volume 45, just like I did with the SMD AMM1 versus the Basehead Garage Watt Meter versus the clamp and multimeter. So let's just get to it. And we are at about 14.5 volts. So I'm not even going to write that stuff down because it was always spot on the money. It drops down to about 14.11, 14.12 during each burp, and then it rebounds right back. So I'm not going to bother measuring that right now. But I am going to have to hit the hold button on this clamp or this voltmeter here. So I'll just do that off of the screen just to make it easier, so my arm's not in the way of everything else. All right, let's go. All right, there's the hold. See the DH, I guess that stands for digital hold or something, I don't know. 65.6 on the clamp. So that's the voltage. 65.6 volts, and then 65.9 amps. Where's my calculator? There's my calculator. So 65.6 times 65.9, and that is 4323.04. So 4323. Now the SPL Lab, and I don't know how to operate this thing right yet. This is the second time I've hooked it up. So we've got 66 volts. It's going to the whole numbers, not the tenths. So 66 volts, 63 amps. So the volt amps are showing 4237. 4237, and then the wattage is showing 4239. Now, how did it have that differential when the power factor showing 1.0 ohm? I don't know, but you know, it does its calculations. I'm just writing down what's on the screen. Okay. I'm just writing down what's on the screen. All right. So on the base head garage wattmeter, we got 65.7 volts and then 64.3 amps. And volt amps is 4219. And then the wattage is 4188. Because it's calculating the power factor. It's calculating the power factor at 0.99. Now, I misspoke a second ago. So the impedance is 1.0 ohm. I'm guessing that this number here, the 1.00, that's power factor here, I'm guessing. Like I said, I don't know anything about this SPL Labs Next LCD, but we'll work through it, figure it out. So, and I don't even know a good way to clear this out except for scrolling back through the peak hold here. So if anybody knows how to clear that out an easier way, let me know, please. And one thing I want to mention too is, see here, when I hit the max for the current hold, the max hold, it's already registering 2.0 to 2.1 amps of current. So we need to subtract that from here. So this is really going to be 63.8. So it's going to be, you know, kind of in line with the other two, the other readings here. So we've got 64.3 on the base head garage wattmeter, 63 on SPL Lab, and then 65.9, but then you minus that 2.1, and that's 63.8. So keep that in mind as well. So that will bring this this number right here down as well, slightly. As a matter of fact, so we got 65.6 volts, and then multiply by 63.8, because that's going to be the 2.1 subtracted from the 65.9, and then you're going to have 4185 watts or volt amps. Okay, so that's what that second number is here. I guess I'll might do that for the rest of them, might not, but 4185 here for the volt amps, 4237 for the volt amps, 4219 for the volt amps. So yeah, they're very close on the first test. And yes, this is going to be a long, boring video. It's already 8 minutes. We've only done one test, but we'll get through it. So let's clear this one out. And see, it's peak hold, peak hold, peak hold. And I've got to hit the hold button here, and I'll show you why. It's got a delay, and it will not work right with the hitting the maximum button, and I don't know why. Probably need to get a different meter for this purpose right here. But anyway, here we go. Test number 2. So 65.5 volts on the clamp. And then we've got 65.8 there. So we're going to do 65.5 times 65.8 equals 4310. 4309.9. So 4310. And then on the SPL Lab, we've got 66 volts and 63 amps. So the volt amps is 4214. And then the wattage is 4216. Base head garage watt meter, the wattage is 4187. .4 volts, and then 64.5 amps, and then 4219 volt amps. All right. Well, peak hold positive. I don't know what that stands for. I really don't. Have not read up on it at all. So peak hold, max, and I've got to hit the button on this one. And my remote wire to the amp has come loose. So let's turn it back on. Okay. .5 volts, 65.8 amps. So 65.5 times 65.8 equals 4310. Again, identical to the previous run. We've got 66 and 63 again on the SPL Lab. Very, very consistent. I like that. 4215 volt amps and 4217 watts. And that's my clamp meter, so my red clamp meter saying I've been on too long, dummy. All right, so 60 on the base head garage watt meter, 65.5 volts, 64.4 amps, 4215 volt amps, 4185 watts. Okay. All right. Test number 4. .5 volts again, and 65.7 amps. 65.5 times 65.7 equals 4303. And then SPL Lab is 66 volts. And then 64 amps. So it fluctuated just a little bit right there. That's okay. 4244 volt amps. And then wattage is 4245. Base head garage watt meter is 65.3 volts, 64.2 amps. Volt amps are 4195. And then the wattage, 4165. So let's clear these out again. Okay, we got the peak hold here. peak hold there. And if somebody can tell me how to leave this backlight turned on, please leave me a comment to let me know, please, because I hate that. I do hate the fact that that light turns off. So we've got max, peak hold, peak hold. We'll clear this one out. And then final test number 5. All right, so we've got 65.4 here. 65.4 volts, 65.7 amps on the tablet. That's the red clamp. So we've got 65.4 times 65.7, and that is 42, call it 4297. And then SPL Labs, we've got 66 volts and 64 amps. We've got 4256 volt amps. And we've got 4257 watts. All right, on the base head garage watt meter, we've got 65.4 volts, 64.3 amps, 4203 volt amps, and then 4173 watts. All right, now we'll turn the amplifier off, turn the head unit off, turn the rest of this stuff off. So let me zoom out. So let me get this off of the stand. Let me get the phone off of the stand. So there's the results. As you can see, they are very consistent. They are very consistent, and I will add that, they are pretty daggone accurate. Look at the voltage versus the amperage, and again, taking consideration the amperage readings on the clamp. It started off with the way that clamps work. It ghosted like 2 amps of current or something like that. So, subtract 2 amps of current here. And that's what I did on this first one. This is the volt amps using the readings that was on the screen. And this is the volt amps after I subtracted 2.1 amps of current from this reading. So, as you can see, the volt amps here, 4219. On the base head garage watt meter, 4237, and then 4185 doing with the clamp and the multimeter, the old school style. So, to me, either unit, either one of these units, the SPL LAB Next LCD and the base head garage watt meter, they're going to be sufficient for amplifier testing. So, again, sorry for the long video, but, I like to make sure that my setup is accurate and consistent. That way we can produce the same results time and time again. So, all right, that's it for this one. Let me know what you think.